with your daily news update. Okay, here we are on August the 15th in the year of our Lord 2026. I've got a lot of great information here for you, so let's just go ahead. Got my kids going to bed, so they got to come in and give me lovin's. Oh, thank you, sweetie. Good night. Shut the door, please. Thank you. Sorry. Okay, let me go ahead and click over here to Murtech on Rumble. This is my Rumble channel here. Let me share this with you. Our episode 2010. It says upcoming, but as you know, you are actually watching it. So let me click on this. And 2010 poll. See, I told you it's live. Susie Poll 2016's joined us in the chat. Thank you very much. I'll get back with you here in a moment. But let me slide down here and click the Show More button to expand out the description box. And we have information from Benny Johnson, Chicks on the right, Dr. Steve Turley, and Glenn Beck. But before we get into that, I do have some shout outs to give. Shopping Cart just started following my channel. CK Ramakar just started following my channel. Vince Fazzi just started following my channel. And Kay Susko just started following my channel. So thank you very much, folks, for following my channel. I greatly appreciate that. I hope you're tuned in, and I hope you enjoy the content. All right, Debbie BS reposted my episode 2009. Frosty18 reposted my extra 792A, and Frosty18 reposted my extra 792B. Margali commented on my episode 2010, this one here. Debbie BS and Roy Neff 7 commented on my extra 792A. Arch Walls 57 and Debbie BS commented on my extra 792B. Debbie BS commented on my extra 792C. And Trump for Evergod commented on my extra 792D. Now, I dropped an extra today. Normally I drop 3, but I dropped 4th one, which is Rush Limbaugh. I found some Rush Limbaugh videos, 114 of them. So I will be posting one of those as my extras for 113 days now, 114 counting today. But I thought this would be good to share that information out. Rush has always had good information. And some of these videos are from his TV show. Okay, he had like a 30-minute syndicated TV show. So we'll be sharing some of that. But at any rate, thank you folks for reposting my videos. Thank you for your comments. I enjoy reading your feedback, and I particularly appreciate your support. So let me go ahead and give this a thumbs up, and let's get into this, okay? Benny Johnson, proof that Obama cheated to win his election, was just broadcast on CNN. Lib heads explode on air. Okay, well, let's check it out and see what that's all about. Here we go. There he is. He cheated.
This is the single most astonishing moment you will ever see on CNN. The architect of the Obama political machine, chief of staff and campaign director, very powerful guy named David Axelrod, was just called out to his face for voter fraud. An amazing and remarkable moment. And before I show it to you, just a reminder that this is what Joe Biden was talking about when he talked live on camera about creating the greatest voter fraud apparatus in history. Joe Biden
put together, and you guys did it for our administration, President Obama's administration before this. We have put together, I think, the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics.
What does he say there? He said that you did it for Obama and you could do it for us. And it's the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud operation ever put forward in America. And now the Obama people are getting called out to their face live on CNN for this. It's amazing. Watch this.
Example where it had in Arizona, he hired the ninjas. What were they called?
Yeah. The cyber ninjas.
I'll give you an example where it has been determinative, and that's in my home state of Indiana, St. Joseph County. The gentleman you previously worked for, David Axelrod, Barack Obama, got on the ballot because Democrats in that county submitted fraudulent ballot petition signatures. People, including the Democrat county chair, went to jail over that. Barack Obama should not have been on the primary ballot in the state of Indiana.
But that's not a voting. That's not a voting
it's still
issue. Like that's something.
Well, it is a voting issue because he was on the ballot and people could vote for him.
See, this is what these cork biters do. Okay? Well, if he wasn't on the ballot, they wouldn't have been voting for him. Now, would they? Okay. Well, yeah, that's not, well, the moon was full and, okay, there were clouds in the sky, so you really can't count that. When you give them proof, when they get proof, well, that doesn't matter. That was just that was just one state. Unfrickin' believable.
Issue though. That's not a, they're stealing the elections. Illegals are voting. That's an Indiana issue because
That's another. That's okay, but there are illegals voting, and there are dead people voting. Okay. Oh, and that's just Indiana. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, it's been uncovered. People went to jail for this in Indiana. Now, just because it hasn't been caught in other states, that doesn't mean it doesn't happen. Okay. And things are so much up in the air about these elections and how, somebody wins on election night, but, well, after we get the mail-in ballots and, we recounted, somebody else actually won. Oh, yeah, well, that's freaking legitimate.
Indiana is the one that determines who's on their ballot.
How did that get determined?
How did that get determined? It was finally exposed 2 years later. It went through the courts, and several people found themselves in jail. Finally. But that's the problem. It didn't happen. They didn't find it before he was on the ballot.
But years after.
We have built, says Joe Biden, the greatest voter fraud operation. And remember, of course, he was part of the administration at the time in 2012 when this fraud was going on. The greatest voter fraud operation in American history.
Organization in the history of fraud, inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of America.
He said it, dude. I mean, they keep telling us to take Joe Biden's word. And so here it is. So Obama became president in part due to fraud. Got that. It's an Indiana issue, you clowns. Says Adam Kinzinger. Democrat operatives forged signatures for Obama and Hillary Clinton to get them on the ballot in the 2008 election. He was never legally elected president. The Democrat operatives were from Indiana and went to prison after they got caught 3 years after the 2008 and 2012 elections. Hundreds of fraudulent signatures were needed to get him on the ballot. So he was never even really a selection in the 2008 race to begin with. Democrats can't win elections unless they cheat. Let's go ahead and look at the breakdown here from Town Hall. Bush spokesman Peter Seat sat next to Obama strategist David Axelrod. And he said, David Axelrod says, what? I've never heard of this. How did this happen? It was exposed 2 years later. Fact check true. In 2013, 4 Indiana Democrats were convicted of forging signatures and copying names straight off of old petitions, including ones from former governor who said he never signed it. County Chair Butch Morgan went to prison for orchestrating all of it. This is the thing they tell you never happens, actually happens. And it does happen, of course. There's election fraud cases all throughout the entire country, including in Indiana. Mm-hmm. There we go. You can see the voter fraud case, the criminal convictions here, right? Happens all the time. South Bend Tribune. Witness says Morgan told him to copy signatures. This is from 2015. Oh boy, very inconvenient. Morgan Blythe guilty of petition fraud and forgery and election fraud. Oh man, there it is. Dude came correct, knew his stuff. And of course, this is something that's been happening all throughout the country. 5 Democrats in Bridgeport, Connecticut, indicted over mass voter fraud. You can see it happening in real time, obviously, on video. 5 charged, 3 politicians accused of faking mail-in ballots. 2 city council members in Hamtramck, Michigan, for fraud and forgery. They literally just go on camera. They're literally on camera in the middle of the broad daylight, stuffing ballot drop boxes. And breaking at time of recording, see here, also in Michigan, the DOJ has just charged more foreigners for voting in Michigan. The Attorney General of Michigan just confirmed charges against 5 non-citizens who voted in the 2024 election. Non-citizens were voting. And on top of all of the news that we have about illegal voting all throughout the nation. It's in every county, in every state, in New Jersey, had 7,000 illegals on their voter rolls, and many of them voted. It's a nightmare. It is a nightmare. It is an absolute mess. So exciting times. We had Cam Higbee on actually earlier today. He just had a voter fraud operation exposed in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We'll do everything we can to expose this issue, but we need more. We need more. I just need everyone to go to jail, I guess. There you go.
Minnesota does not require ID to vote. Additionally, Minnesota has a law that says if you go to vote, you walk into the polling station, you can bring 8 additional people who are not registered to vote, and you can vouch for them. When you vouch for them, they register to vote on the spot, and then they vote. So the law is very vague. We ran into some polling stations. None of them required ID from me. But I tried to vouch for, I said, I have 8 other people in the car, and they were not going to. Some places required ID for those 8 additional people. Some didn't. But we have several where, we walk in, they're like, no ID from anybody. So I would walk into the polling station with this on, pretending to be a Muslim woman, and I would say, I'm here to vote. This is the name, and it's the name of an actual registered voter. The intention here is not to actually vote. It's not to touch a ballot. It's not to sign an affidavit. It's just to expose the vulnerabilities. And so I would ask, do we need ID? Do we need ID? I'm talking just like this, pretending to be a woman, and they're buying it. The name we're using is the name of a female person. One of them was Genevieve, and they were fully prepared to allow me to vote without an ID. And then they were going to allow me to bring 8 other people, and they wouldn't have to use an ID either. And they would all vote same day on the spot. Now, the terrible part about this is, let's say somebody actually wanted to do this. Our intention obviously was never to actually vote. Let's say somebody's intention was to actually vote. Well, that poor person whose name got used, they're going to show up to the polling station, and the pollsters are going to say, sorry, you already came in to vote. We can't allow you to vote twice, but that person never actually came in to vote. All you need is a name and an address or date of birth. Date of birth and address are interchangeable. They're going to ask one or the other most times. I had several where they didn't ask me any of those things. They just asked me for my name. So all you need is those 2 pieces of information, those 3 pieces of information, and you're good to vote. So your neighbor, if you know what year he was born, if you know what month he was born, if you know where he lives, his address is your neighbor. You probably know where he lives, and you know his name. He's your neighbor. You probably know his name. And if he tells you, hey, I'm not going to go vote today, you can go vote in his name. You have all the information required in Minnesota.
Also, if you're wearing a hijab, how do they know who these people are? How would you ever check?
I kind of highlighted.
Even if you have an ID, even if you're like, this is who I am, how would anyone ever know, in fact, that that's who you are?
Couldn't. I mean, I think it should be fully illegal to wear a face covering to a polling station to vote. Because as you point out, even with an ID, there's literally no way to verify that person's identification. But Minnesota doesn't actually care about verifying your ID in the first place. They weren't going to verify my ID at any step. They weren't going to, not even a utility bill. Literally nothing that would prove that I am the name that we had. Nothing to verify that I'm that person. And they were fully prepared to allow me to vote.
So you could just get 8 buddies and put them in hijabs, get in a van, and just drive around Minnesota and Minneapolis, and you could vote at every single polling station you go to by vouching for them. Is that correct?
Yeah. I mean,
Just the same 8 people in hijabs. I mean, how is anybody ever going to check who they are?
I mean,
Those
I
are
had
just,
at least 6 different opportunities to fraudulently vote in somebody else's name and also have 8 other people fraudulently vote. And you could just go to each polling station all around this. As long as you've got names and addresses, you're totally good. You can vote as many times as you want. That's the problem with this lack of voter ID.
Unbelievable. But as we've heard numerous times before, that's the only way that Democrats can win, is if they cheat. And I pray and I hope that there are some limits put in place for this next election. The Save America Act, and we'll get into that later on with Glenn Beck, is not going to happen. But I believe something happened in the 2024 election, or else Kamala would have won, just like Joe Biden won. But something took place in that 2024 election to allow Donald Trump to win. And I hope the same thing happens this fall for the 2026 election. Otherwise, if the Democrats take the House, I'll tell you what, the show's over, because they will do everything they can. He'll be the first president that's been impeached 5 times. He's already the only president that's been impeached twice, but he will definitely set a record. And Trump likes doing that, setting records. So he'll be the only president that will be impeached 4 or 5 times. Amazing. Okay, let me go ahead and jump on this Rumble link here and show you that this video does come from Benny Johnson. All right. This is the video I shared with you. I've given him a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. Okie dokie. Let's jump back here. And all right, King Watts is jumped in the trap there. He's giving us some great information. Okay, let's slide down here and see what chicks on the right have to say. Nick Fuentes destroys Tucker Carlson. I just wanted to share this with you. I know I don't get much into Tucker Carlson, and chicks on the right, you know, they've freaked out about Tucker and Candace, but I did want to share this one with you. So let's go ahead and jump on this and see what they have to say.
Need to talk about Nick Freitas' amazing takedown of Tucker Carlson that happened yesterday, or maybe the day before, and I just missed it. But Tucker was once again complaining about how the United States and Israel are essentially criminals because we've killed innocent people in the midst of war. Tucker is a retard. He has become utterly unhinged. And Nick Freitas, you could tell he had enough. And so here is what he responded to Tucker. You'll hear Tucker first and then see Nick's response.
Murder people, and it is murder, who committed no crime, posed no threat to us, who are non-combatants, women, children. We're going to apologize for it. We're going to call it what it is, which is a crime. And when another country commits genocide against a population, kills tens of thousands of children, as our closest ally has, as countries tend to do, by the way.
See, once again, Tucker is very, very selective on who he wants to hold accountable. He wants to hold us accountable, perfectly fine. Wants to hold Israel accountable, okay. Doesn't want to hold Hamas accountable. Doesn't want to call Iran accountable. So here's what Tucker Carlson wants. He wants the American taxpayer to pay restitution anytime civilians are harmed in war. Really? I'm not saying that we shouldn't say that's tragic. But the thing that I would like to point out to Tucker Carlson, who has never had to be on the ground and actually fight these barbarians, is they like to put innocent civilians in harm's way. And when the AK-47 is shooting at you, you don't always know who's pulling the trigger. And the U.S. government needs to admit that we've committed a crime. We've committed murder. You know what, Tucker? Screw you, dude. You have never known what it's like to actually have to go into combat situations, make split-second decisions, trying to do everything you possibly can to put yourself in danger before you harm an innocent, and just declare everything like that murder. Thank God Tucker Carlson has never been responsible for trying to keep this country safe.
That's right.
Amen.
Oh my God. Preach, Nick. Yeah, because Tucker Carlson is just a bow-tied trust fund baby who tries to act like he's just like everybody else. I'm hunting and fishing. Ah. Look at me. I'll wear carts. No, we know who you are. And you're not a Nick Freitas. That's for sure.
No, and there's more stories coming out about Tucker from people who previously worked with him at Daily Caller. This comes from Chuck Ross, and this was in light of Hunter appearing on Tucker's show, and they were, of course, like, super tight. So he wrote, funny story, in 2020, after the Hunter laptop came out, journos at Daily Caller, the site that Tucker Carlson founded and the site where I worked, came across emails that showed Tucker asking Hunter Biden to write a letter of recommendation for his son to get into Georgetown.
How is that good?
Yeah. Us Caller reporters thought that this would be a great way to refute Biden World's claims at the time that the laptop emails were fake or illegitimate. Someone who emailed with Hunter could verify their authenticity. We thought Tucker would be more than happy to help, and no ill will was intended. But no, Tucker lashed out at the Daily Caller employee who was tasked with contacting him about this, saying that a story on that would be a quote, attack on my family or something along those lines.
All right.
And here is the actual email from Tucker to Hunter saying, hey, could you put in a recommendation or I can't thank you enough for writing that letter to Georgetown on Buckley's behalf. I mean, it's right there. There's the evidence of the email. And so Chuck Ross, again, when he posted this, saying that was a black pill moment for him, and it made him realize that Tucker was a complete phony and fake populist. He wrote, I didn't care about this part as much, but his refusal to verify the emails was a refusal to help Trump. And there was another person at the Daily Caller who piped in as well on that same thread, Derek Hunter, who said, I had written up the Hunter got kicked out of the military for testing positive for Coke story and got a call saying he had to spike it because he was a friend and neighbor, even though I was only aggregating what had already broken elsewhere, but that he would make it up to me somehow. That's Tucker, you guys. What a freaking creep that guy is.
Oh my God, total creep. And just curious, did Buckley go to Georgetown or did Georgetown go?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh my God. So they were like, oh, well, Hunter Biden recommended you, so come on in. Like, it's you guys. Like, why would you ask him? Why would you? First of all,
this was at the time. This was before the laptop had ever been revealed. This was like when Hunter wasn't known to be
who cares
a complete crackhead.
But who even cares about that? Because Hunter Biden, like what? Even before he himself was a trust fund, but he's a Nepo baby. What did he do with his life? And then you're like, I want you. When you ask for a recommendation, I just can't believe that's the recommendation that he wanted. You know what I mean?
He had the right family name.
It's very telling. It's very telling. And these people are gross. And he acts like he's normal and he's not. He is a flip flopper. And I swear, like there is a demon that has consumed his body.
Well, and Tucker also acts like there's this uniparty. That's why he wants to, do this whole other party thing because everybody's all the same. And Ben Shapiro had something to say about that. Here's what he said.
By the way, Tucker made hay out of the Hunter Biden laptop. It's hilarious. You want to talk about a uniparty? How about you go on your show at Fox and you start talking ad nauseum about the Hunter Biden laptop. And a few years later, you're sitting with Hunter blaming the Israelis for the laptop that Hunter Biden dropped off at a repair shop. It's just pathetic. It's just pathetic.
So completely accurate. I mean, what a shape-shifting chameleon phony Tucker is. We also need to remind you that if you need an accidental relaxation period of time that also brightens your face, you just need a Boncharge face mask. You guys.
My Bon.
Okay, they're going into
it's
a
not
commercial
bulky.
here,
It's very flexible.
Yeah, I just wanted to share that with you on that. That Tucker, I don't understand. I mean, he used to give out fairly good information when he was on Fox. And then he started releasing the videos from January 6th. And it was like, okay, well, you can't release any more. And, they canned him for it because he was trying to put out the truth. But now it's like he's just making shit up. I don't get it. I do not get it. He must have been bought off or something, I guess. I don't know. But at any rate, this video does come from Chicks on the Right. Great information. They are here from Indianapolis, okay? They used to have a radio program. I don't know if they still do or not, WIBC. And I would listen to them all the time. But they do put out good information, and I kind of like their style. Okay, but let's jump back here. All righty, and see what else we got with Dr. Steve Turley. And that this, this isn't political, unless of course anything that Elon Musk does you think is political. But I thought this was very interesting. The world is witnessing the largest building on Earth in Texas. Okay, well let's check this out and see what that's all about.
Astonishing than anyone ever imagined. It's called Terafab, and it's the vision of the most audacious visionary alive today, the one and only Elon Musk. A 100 million square foot colossus rising out of a dried up reservoir in Grimes County, Texas. A single building over 5 times larger than the current record holder for the biggest building on Earth. But what makes this building truly stunning is how it actually points to something even bigger. A civilizational transformation happening all over the world, a transformation that's ushering in the rise of a new world of civilization, technology, and space travel, the birth of a civilizational cosmocracy. You and I are living in an amazing time. We're literally witnessing history being made every single week, and this week is no exception. On August 7th, SpaceX and Tesla officially confirmed Terafab, a $16.8 billion semiconductor megafactory that Elon Musk promises will be the largest and most valuable building on Earth by far, and it will be stunningly beautiful. Now, just take in the scale of what we're talking about here. 100 million square feet. When you compare it to the entire Logan International Airport complex in Boston, runway and all, Terafab, the singular building complex, will be roughly 96% of Logan's total size. That's more than 5 times the size of China's New Century Global Center in Chengdu, which currently holds the world record at 18.9 million square feet, complete with its own indoor beach and ski slope. Terafab will be bigger than the Pentagon, Apple Park, and the Mall of America combined. Several times over. You could actually fit 15 Pentagons inside this one building. It's 36 times the size of the Empire State Building's office footprint. And it's roughly 10 times the size of Tesla's own Gigafactory Texas, which itself was already one of the largest factories on the planet. The numbers alone are staggering, but it's the purpose behind Terafab that reveals just how historic this moment really is. Musk says that the facility will combine logic chips, memory, and advanced packaging all under one roof for the very first time in history, producing more than 1 terawatt of compute annually. Now, that's roughly 1,000 times the output of a single large nuclear power plant. I mean, the entire United States average electricity consumption is only around 0.5 terawatts at any given moment. And the entire current global output of AI compute is only about 20 gigawatts a year. Terafab alone is targeting 50 times that. Again, the scale and scope of this project is absolutely unprecedented. And why does Musk need that much computing power? Because it's the missing ingredient for humanity's expansion into space. Do you see how it all fits together? He's talking about powering as many as 1 million Tesla Optimus humanoid robots, launching 10 million tons of mass into orbit every single year, and generating over 1 terawatt of solar power to fuel it all. In Musk's own words, the goal is nothing less than to launch, quote, a galactic civilization. A galactic civilization. That's not corporate hype. It's a claim about destiny, about the kind of future humanity is meant to build. And whether Musk realizes it or not, his futuristic vision is tapping into something very, very ancient, something civilizations have always sensed in their bones, that greatness isn't measured by just what you consume. Greatness is measured by a cosmovision, that dares to locate a people within the very architecture of the universe itself, a vision grand enough to orient a civilization's building, its industry, its very sense of purpose towards the heavens. And that is exactly what's happening in our world today. This is why terafab matters so much more than square footage or silicon. It's part of a much bigger story unfolding right now all over the world. The rise of a civilizational cosmocracy. Are you feeling the whiplash in the markets?
All right, he's doing a commercial here. Wall Street Insider. Okay, let's get past this.
Packer.com. Latest books, Turley, Freedom. Your bright, beautiful future is waiting. Let's go get it together. Now, if you pardon the shameless plug, my latest book, Civcosm, God's Algorithms and the Rise of a Civilizational Cosmocracy, explores precisely this rising archaeo-future world of which terafab is such a central part. Civilizational cosmocracy describes how nations and peoples all over the world are simultaneously reclaiming their sacred and cultural identities while at the same time extending their technological reach outward, upward, into the very heavens themselves. We've seen this in the resurgence of sacred architecture, right? With the recent completion of the Sagrada Familia's Tower of Christ in Barcelona. We've seen it with the grand opening of the Neo-Byzantine People's Salvation Cathedral in Bucharest, Romania, the largest Orthodox cathedral in the world, with its central icon called the Cosmos Creator, Christ the ruler of the cosmos. And we're seeing it as well with the return of classical Christian education spreading all across the Christian world, from the United States to Brazil and Latin America and across the pond to Hungary and the whole of Europe. But terafab represents the other great pillar of the civilizational awakening: technological sovereignty and cosmic ambition. The drive of a civilization to reach beyond the merely terrestrial and stake its claim among the stars. Today, we're seeing an archaeo-future dynamic where civilizations aren't just restoring their cultural customs and traditions of the past. They're harnessing the technologies of the future as projections of civilizational power and vision. So in Saudi Arabia, construction is resumed on the Jeddah Tower, aiming for over 3,000 feet, which would make it the tallest building ever built by humanity. In Dubai, the Burj Azizi is rising to 725 meters, on track to become the world's second tallest building, while the Dubai Creek Tower has restarted construction, with reports suggesting a height that could exceed 1,300 meters. China, meanwhile, continues its own building boom, with dozens of super tall towers rising up in cities like Shenzhen. But terafab is, in a very real sense, a techno-industrial ambition like no other. A cathedral not of stone and stained glass, but of silicon and steel, built to manufacture the technological substrate of an entire interplanetary civilization. And just like Gaudi's Sagrada Familia pointed beyond itself to something greater, terafab points beyond itself too, to a vision of America, and specifically Texas, as the launching pad for humanity's next great leap. The Texas Triangle, stretching from Houston to Dallas to Austin, is increasingly being called America's Shenzhen, an economic powerhouse now further amplified by the launch of the Texas Stock Exchange itself. We're witnessing right now in real time a strategic and spiritual repositioning of civilizational gravity away from the coasts and their globalist institutions and toward America's heartland, where sovereign energy, sovereign manufacturing, and sovereign ambition are converging into a single, unprecedented structure. And that really is the story here. What's happening with the Sagrada Familia and Russia and Romania's church building renewal is a resurgence of sacred civilization pointed heavenward in the realm of the spirit. What's happening with terafab in Texas is a resurgence of sovereign civilization pointed heavenward in the realm of matter and energy. Both are expressions of the same deeper impulse. A civilization no longer content to simply manage decline, but one actively building with astonishing confidence toward a future that's bigger, bolder, and more ambitious than anything that came before it. Now, if you're interested in diving deeper into this rising civilizational cosmocracy, I'm actually hosting a live...
All right, he's going into a commercial here, but, I find that very interesting. And, we've talked before, I've shared information before about these 15-minute cities. And it makes me wonder if that may be part of this, like a 15-minute city. And I've really got no problem with 15-minute cities as long as people are able to come and go as they please. I mean, if you live, I live in a 15-minute area right here. I can go to the grocery, I can go to the bank, I can go to the post office, I can go to the pharmacy, I can do activities with the kids. All within 15 minutes of my house, but I'm able to go down to see Aunt Sue in Arkansas and pretty much do whatever we want. And if that tariff fab is kind of like that people can live in there and they have all the conveniences that they need or want and able to come and go as they please, there's no big deal about it. Some people just get kind of, just freak out over things, over changes, when, it's not really anything to be concerned about in some situations, unless it is something like, okay, well, this is where you stay, and you're not allowed to go out. I don't know how they would keep people that here in the United States from going out of the 15-minute city. But at any rate, that just popped in my head when I saw this, but I did want to share it with you. Let me click on the Rumble link here and show you that this video does come from Dr. Steve Turley. This is the video I shared with you. I've given him a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. Okay, I want to jump over here to something that I shared on Facebook, and I thought this was interesting too. Let me give this a thumbs up. Here we go. Let's take a listen.
Ever wonder why liberals are referred to as the left and conservatives as the right? I found it in the Bible. The heart of the wise inclines to the right, but the heart of the fool to the left. Ever wonder why liberals are referred to as the left and conservatives as the right? I found it in the Bible. The heart of the wise inclines to the right, but the heart of the fool to the left.
There you have it. There you have it. Makes sense to me. I can't argue with that. Okay, let's slide down here and see what Glenn Beck has to say about Glenn is done with weak GOP leadership refusing to pass the Save America Act. Okay, well, let's see what he's done
No,
about it.
it's your fault. You have the numbers. You have the numbers. And if you don't, then Thune is a ballless rhino. How come you guys can get everything that the GOP voter is against? How come you can get that done?
Amazing.
But when you have 80% of the GOP behind you, somehow or another, we just don't have the votes. We just don't have the votes. Mitch McConnell got things done. You know how he got things done? Gee, there's a senator up in Maine that needs help with her reelection. You know who's not getting a dime? The senator from Maine. You're not getting a dime on your reelection unless you fold and you help us on this. Then we'll help you. That should have been done months ago. But we got a ballless rhino who I am going to award the Nobel Prize to. I'm making one just for Thune. Now, am I being too pessimistic? I doubt it. But the one person who actually would know, who's been in that septic system, that might know, is Rachel Bavard, and she is with us. She is Vice President of Programs for the Conservative Partnership Institute. She's been on before saying, don't get your hopes up. Where are we on the SAVE Act? Where are we on this whole thing? Is it going to pass or not, Rachel?
Well, just give me pause to choke on the no ball rhino, a word that you're creating. That was made my Friday. Thank you. So, well, what's fascinating about this Save America debate is that, we have John Thune out there saying, well, we don't have 60 votes. We've always needed 60 votes. We don't have 60. So now, well, yes, we can get into the procedural leverage that is available to these senators. But what the president has said is, okay, fine. If you're not going to physically impose exhaustion on the the filibustering minority, if you're not going to do all of that, then fine. I'm going to try to find a way to give this to you at 51 votes, and I'm going to try to do it through reconciliation. No one's ever tried this before. Donald Trump has said, I do not want this to be some sort of voluntary grant program that you can just get out of. I want this to have teeth. And so he said to the House, pass this. They did. And now he's saying to the Senate, do the same. And you have John Thune who said, well, we don't have 60. We can't pass this. Now saying Donald Trump has given it to him at 51 votes because reconciliation passes that way. And John Thune saying, oh, can't do that either. So what he's doing, which is shocking in my mind, is telegraphing his own incompetence. He has 53 Republicans, and they cannot pass at simple majority a reconciliation vehicle that we don't know if it will. We haven't, run through the process yet, but he's not even willing to try to make the program as reconcilable as possible to get it through this vehicle.
So, Rachel, tell me, because this is where Thune, you are absolutely right. He is telegraphing his own incompetence. Do you remember when they passed the Obamacare bill? I don't remember who it was. He was like pro-abortion, pro-life, all of these things. He was like dead set against it. He was a Democrat, dead set against it. And he came out finally and he was crying and he's like, okay, they made a deal with me and I'm going to pass it. I mean, where's the strong arm here? What do you have? If you're just like, well, I've talked to everybody and everybody doesn't, then what use are you? What use are you? You can't make any deal with anyone?
This gets to the point of what the Senate actually is for, which is to solve problems. And the Obamacare example is very instructive because, again, what the Senate provides you as an institution is the ability to leverage the physically grueling process of deliberation. And what Harry Reid did when he passed Obamacare, people may remember, it actually passed in two parts. It passed one as part of a reconciliation vehicle at simple majority. But the second part passed, the major policy of Obamacare passed the Senate in its traditional form, subject to a filibuster. Now, Harry Reid had 60 Democrats, but he didn't have 60 votes. Okay, he had Lieberman and he had Ben Nelson. He had to chase those votes. And he had Republicans on the other side throwing every possible delay tactic at him. And so what Harry Reid did is he didn't walk around and say, well, I just don't have 60 votes. Sorry. He used the institution. I was in DC when this happened. He said, we are not going home. You want to obstruct? You want to vote? No, fine, you can do that. But you're going to do it 24/7 in the chamber, nights and weekends, and we're not leaving until it's done. And do you remember when that statutory part of Obamacare passed? It passed on Christmas Eve. Yep. Because he leveraged every single opportunity he had to say, fine, you can oppose me, but you are going to physically pay for your opposition. This has been how the Senate has operated for 200 years, except now under John when it cannot do anything.
Yes. People don't even realize that they're getting half the story online. If you only read one version of events, even from people you generally agree with, you're still missing part of the picture.
Okay, let me get it past
They're all
this commercial here.
The search from you. Free spoke premium.
They're right.
Have you figured?
He needs an award, the No Balls Award. John Thune was in the Senate during the Obamacare thing that she talked about, and they passed it on Christmas Eve. Now, I don't know if he voted for it or not, but he was there and saw what happened and saw how that type of strategy could get this passed. Okay? So, his bullshit lies and rhino tactics isn't working for him. I hope it isn't. I hope that son of a gun gets primaried out. And, if not, I hope a Democrat beats him. I hope nobody votes for him. Because what's the difference? We did that in Indiana here. Okay, we had shit, I can't remember his name. Normally we have 2 Republican senators, but we had one that was just a plain asshole. Okay, he wouldn't go along with the Republican Party, a rhino. Well, he got primaried out. Unfortunately, the Republican that won the primary didn't win the election. So we got a Democrat in there for 6 years. But what difference does it make? If you've got a Republican that acts like a Democrat, you might as well just have a Democrat in there anyway, so people can see how shitty they are, and that person got replaced. So, now we got two Republican senators in there. But John Thune is worthless. Yes, he needs the No Ball Award. That's for sure.
So what the hell is his problem? Have you figured that piece out yet? What is his deal?
Honest, it's bigger than John Thune, unfortunately, and it is that the conference now has one loyalty, and it's to their own comfort, right? What John Thune doesn't want to do is to announce to his conference, by the way, guys, we are going to start doing midnight quorum calls. We're going to start working Fridays even, or Mondays during the day, things that they never do. If John Thune announces that, his conference is going to whine, they're going to grumble. A lot of them will just go home anyway, and it will be John Thune becomes the enemy of his conference. They have one loyalty, and it's to their own comfort, and that is really hamstringing the Senate, because the Senate, for 200 years, has operated in this deliberate environment, which takes work. And this current Senate works 2.5 days a week, Glenn. Okay? They work Monday night to Thursday at noon, and they go on recess, for weeks. They don't stay in Washington and do this work. And what we are talking about doing, a true deliberative environment where you are dealing with an obstructive minority, like you are with the Democrats, it takes work. And these senators simply do not want to do it. So can John Thune, as leader, right, show some, small L leadership and say, guys, get in the locker room. I'm going to give you a pep talk. We are doing this. Yes, he could do that, but he's chosen not to. But the problem is bigger than John Thune, honestly. It's the entire Republican conference, outside of a few, doesn't want to put in the work.
That's totally fine. But it takes a leader to say, I don't give a flying crap. You're staying. You're staying. It takes a leader who's willing to take the arrows and the slings and the bruises and say, go ahead, punch me again. I'm not going anywhere. It's going to end up between you and me, and I know I'm not going anywhere, so we're doing it. That's what a leader does.
Yep.
John Thune has he doesn't need hormone therapy. He's already a woman. He has absolutely no balls. Tell me why he's not doing the reconciliation thing. What is his excuse on the reconciliation thing?
Well, it's that his conference does not want to do another vote-a-rama before the midterms. And if people are familiar with this process, it's an unlimited amendment process in the Senate. Now, debate is limited under reconciliation, but amending is not. So ironically, the objection to the talking filibuster is, oh my gosh, they can offer unlimited amendments. Well, every budget resolution and every reconciliation vehicle also comes with an unlimited amendment process. Now, what happens is that, Democrats think they can offer a bunch of poison pills. They have already done this. Right? The Senate has already been through multiple vote-a-ramas. I don't personally think Democrats have any new ideas that they haven't already forced Republicans to vote on. But these are grueling exercises. They go, into 4 a.m., 5 a.m., they go all night, but then they're over. The Senate just does not want to do that. And if you believe Thune, there's also substantive objections to the bill. You have the farmers who are getting billions of dollars. They want more. You have the defense hawks who are getting billions of dollars. They also want more. So there's a number of those issues as well. Thune has said, I would prefer to take that budget resolution coming over from the House, carve out the substance and replace it with a CR, with a government funding bill. Which I'm not sure.
Okay.
But yeah.
I can't take these CRs anymore. We have no government. If you're just continuing resolution, you have no government. It's just.
I mean, these guys make $174,000 a year plus expenses. Okay, let's not forget that. So, okay, so they have to work more than 3.5 days a week. Isn't that a crying frickin' shame? Isn't that a crying shame? And amazing thing about it is, they make $174,000 a year. And this day and age, I guess, an executive gets paid more than that in mid to large corporation. But the thing is, like I said, they only work like 3.5 days a week, and these campaign contributions just keep going into like a trust account or whatever. But it seems like they always turn out to be millionaires in just a few years. Even if they haven't spent a dime, it would be difficult for them to be millionaires as quickly as they are. So, amazing. And yet they won't do what the people who voted them into office want them to do. Isn't that interesting?
A giant blob of money out there, and we haven't made a single damn decision since 2008. These people are worthless. They're at least the leadership is worthless. I have senators who call me and say, I don't even know why I'm here anymore. We don't actually do anything. This is a deliberative body. We don't do anything. Why am I wasting my time here? And I'm running out of reasons for them to stay. I really am.
No, it really, what you've hit on, the current state of the Senate, it's an existential threat to the Senate itself, because I think you have a number of senators who are rightly asking that question. What do I even do? It's funny, I talk a lot about the Senate to various groups in Washington, and I talk about when senators were titans, when they moved history, when senators were states. And they really, honestly, there were times where senators were more famous than presidents because they were more powerful than presidents in many ways. And they wielded power with dignity and authority. And you have a Senate now that is literally run like an adult daycare. You know exactly when you're going to vote, you know exactly when you're going to have lunch, and you know exactly when you're going to go home. And for all of the remaining time, you sit on your carpet square and sip on your juice box and wait to be told by the leadership what to do
So
next.
true.
That
It
is not.
exactly. You are
That is not what the Senate is for, right? A senator, and the more that it behaves that way as an institution, the quality of senators are going to go down, because why would any respectable member of society want to put themselves through that? But two, you're also at a critical point in the conference where members have never seen a Senate that operates any differently. They don't know how to aspire to what the Senate used to be. And so I do think we are at a very dangerous point, a tipping point for the Senate, where it's either going to save itself or it's going to continue into this complete irrelevance and decline.
So what's Trump's move here? What's next?
Well, Trump has said in clear terms, you're starting to see him throw hands at John Thune, which he hasn't done before, and to say to him, look, this is unacceptable. I think it's time. It seems as though Trump is starting to realize that the Senate Republican Conference is actually the problem. He's talked about the filibuster being the problem and the parliamentarian being the problem. And those are foils. Those are proxies for what the actual problem is, which is the conference itself. So Donald Trump cannot force the Senate to pass legislation, but he is the leader of the Republican Party, and he has a lot of power at his disposal. So I think he can try to make life painful for these senators in a way that he really hasn't. I hope he doesn't have to do that. I hope the Republicans continue to swing the midterms. But you have a situation now where the Senate has given its members nothing to run on. Right? Donald Trump is trying to help them. He's trying to save them from themselves and say, just give the voters something to show up for. Nobody remembers what you've done. They remember what you're doing. So, I think you're going to start to see more pressure from this White House against the Senate than I think you've seen before. And it's overdue.
Well, but what they're going to say when they get home is, I'm on your side. I'm on your side. We just need this election. If we can just get a few more, then we'll have the power to do it. I'm so sick of that excuse. And I don't think it's going to be bought by anybody in America. I really think GOP voters have shown they've tipped their hand. They've shown, we're done with you guys. We're done. John Thune, good luck on your next election. It can't come fast enough. And feel free to stop by at any time. We're in the same area. I'm out in the Mountain West too, John. You can stop by and get your Nobel Prize anytime. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. You can hang it where your balls should be. Anyway, Rachel, thank you so much. I appreciate you being on with us. I'm sorry that it just ran into this.
Okay. Well, there you have it. He's right. Let me show you here that this video does come from Glenn Beck on his YouTube channel. I am subscribed to that channel. I've given him a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. Okay, and let's get back here. Share this page, and let me copy the chats here from Susie Poll 2016 and King Watts. I want to copy these chats into a comment so that they will be a permanent part of the video. There we go. And I do want to share some information here from Rumble Premium. Let's take a listen to that.
This sponsorship is from Rumble, one that is incredibly important to the survival of the company. When Rumble first started in 2013, they built the platform for the small creator. They didn't censor or have biases, they were fair and treated all creators equally. No one thought platforms would censor political conversation or censor opinions on COVID. But they did. Facebook admitted they fell to pressure from the Biden and Harris administration. Rumble did not, they held the line. They are attacked daily for giving us a voice to talk to you. They are attacked in corporate media. They are attacked by governments like France. They are attacked from brand advertisers who refuse to work with them. Corporate America is fighting to remove speech. Rumble is fighting to keep it. Rumble won't survive with brand advertisers. They don't get much of it. Watching our show on Rumble is the most they can ask from you. But if you really believe in this fight, and if you have the means, one major way you can help Rumble survive is by joining Rumble Premium. Join the community that believes in the First Amendment and believes in our human right to free speech. Rumble is offering $10 off with the promo code STUDIO when you purchase an annual subscription. Go to rumble.com/premium and use promo code STUDIO. Like I said, if you have the means and believe in the cause, now is the time to join Rumble Premium. If you don't have the means, we are just happy if you watch us on Rumble.
Alrighty then. Okay, let me remind you folks that these videos that I've shared with you come directly from the producer. In the description box, I have the links to the videos that I shared with you, as well as the links to the producer's channel if you want to go check out more information that they offer. And these videos that I've shared with you are videos that I've posted on Mertech.com, where I have over 40 no-nonsense, common sense, logic and truth videos. All this information here from Wendy Bell Radio to X22 Report. Right here's the video from Glenn Beck that I shared with you. Right here's the video from Dr. Steve Turley that I shared with you. Right here's the video from Chicks on the Right that I shared with you. And the Benny Johnson video here. The link to Mertech.com is in the description box. It's a free site. I don't ask for your name. I don't ask for your email address. I don't drop cookies on your computer. I don't have a bunch of ads popping up in your face. It's just a place to come to where you can get no nonsense, common sense, logic, and truth. Now, I'd like to share all this information with you, but unfortunately I don't have the time to do so, and that's why I've put together Mertech's Daily News Wrap-Up. It says I have 17 videos in here, about 9 or 10 hours worth of great information. We're going to start off with We the People News. Go to the Steve Deace Show, Prosecute Fauci Now. Also, the Sean Spicer Show, WNBA Forced to Define What a Woman Is. Very interesting. After Sophie Cunningham backlash. All right. Also, And We Know, the High Wire with Dale Bigtree. Also, information here from Setting Brush Fires. This video was recommended by one of my listeners. The Dimming, Exposing the Climate Energy Cover-Up, talking about chemtrails. Also information here from John B. Wells. Great stuff here, folks. But go ahead and take a break right now. Grab a cup of coffee and a donut or a sandwich and a soft drink or a beer. maybe a nice glass of wine and some cheese, and meet me back here in about 15 or 20 minutes so I can get this set up in Rumble Studio, and we'll get this going. I like this placeholder here. Looks like Fauci is a chimpanzee. I wonder who's pulling his chain. That would be interesting to find out. But at any rate, I don't think he's really smart enough to come up with all this on his own. But at any rate, I do want to thank you for being here. Hopefully, I'll get to see you again later, and may God bless.